something big out there. I'm hoping it's just a wildebeest. If it's a buffalo, I'm in serious trouble. Okay, now there's two of them. What do you think? Maybe they're not music lovers. Welcome again, everybody, to another Survivorman in training session. I hope this archival footage is as enjoyable for you as it is for me. This is full of memories. I'm going back a long time ago now, 2004, 2005, 2006, when I was heading out into the field to film the Survivorman series. But first, I would be trained by all of these different local experts. Places like the jungles, in Costa Rica and the Amazon, tropical islands, deserts, and where we're going to go today, South Africa. I have no recollection of how I found most of the survival instructors that I did as I traveled around the globe, but for some reason for Africa, I ended up with 4 separate instructors, sometimes all together at the same time.
Don't think I'll need to have a rifle with me or anything like that, just in case.
If you can get one.
Africa was pretty big that time on TV. See, when it comes to nature shows, TV works that way. Certain geographical areas become the darling of Nat Geo or Discovery Channel, and then that's all they want from you as a producer. For 5 years, you'll only see shows on the Arctic or Africa. And that's the way it was back then. If I was pushing Papua New Guinea, they didn't want anything of it. That had to be Africa. But just the same, I was dying to go to learn more survival skills and bring Survivorman to Africa.
This is really one of the trickiest parts of putting this whole show together is scouting a location out. You just don't know what you get until you get down there and you get on the ground. And the bottom line is, I'm here. I'm in Africa. And now I'm looking for classic Africa, and complete with all of its challenges and dangers and everything that I need to make an episode of Survivorman. And drink beer.
I know it might seem a little counterintuitive, but the reality is that to properly survive in an area and be able to film it, remember, I'm always thinking like a teacher when I'm doing my survival stuff. So I've got to film this stuff and I want to be able to teach you the skills. To do that properly, I had to location scout. Now, does that mean that I necessarily walked right to the spot where I would be surviving that week? No, not normally. On some occasions, yes, I'd go, oh, yeah, that's the spot. Will drop me off here, in a couple of days and I'll start doing my filming. But a lot of times I just needed to check the general area to scope it all out. Is there enough here for me to work with? I used to get suggestions like, why don't you survive on the edge of a volcano? This was in the early days when it was just all about, yeah, we want to see you hurt. I was like, why? Why would I want to sit and survive on the edge of a volcano? That's not what I do. I teach survival skills, bushcraft skills, edible wild plants, primitive technology. That's what I do. I teach that stuff. So for me, it was always all about the wilderness. And so location scouting was vital because I knew that A, there had to be a good survival story to tell there. So in other words, okay, I can trap and use traps and deadfalls to get squirrels. I can make some fishing gear and I can fish in this spot, or I can climb that hill and gather, this particular berry or whatever. And then B, that I would be able to actually film it where I was, because some locations are very, very difficult to film. So that wouldn't work either. And I had to always combine that. And that led to me always location scouting. There were years when I would have my field director try to location scout for me. They could never do it. At least 3 or 4 of them tried very, very hard, and they would show up very proud because I would get there after them and they go, Les, I found you 3 amazing places. You're gonna love it. And all 3 would be like, nah, it's not gonna work at all, because they didn't understand survival. They maybe knew filmmaking, but they did not know survival. So location scouting was so vital to all of this.
And there's a couple of very nice trees around here if you want to put up a little camp for yourself.
nice, eh, there?
Beautiful.
And down here is an old, if you follow the stream down, it becomes like an old riverbed. I think this would be a nice area which to try and do your program.
What small creatures are here that I could realistically snare or
You
trap
can snare
or deadfall?
warthog here, you can snare duiker here.
What's that?
Duiker is a little animal.
Like in front of us, it's
Very small.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little deer.
What are my dangers here? What do I have to worry about here? Or be concerned with?
Ticks, because if you get it, few bites another.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, for ticks, keep on, especially if you put repellents. I'll put this one here. Smells like a mint juice, but it repels also the insect, you see.
Wow, oh yeah.
Yeah, it repels the insects. You see, you just see all this now. All my hands will be, you just rub it in it.
Look at this little bugger. This guy is going right for a sensitive spot. There have been ticks on me since I started this thing. Big ones, small ones, fast ones, slow ones. Ones with striped legs, ones all red. Fortunately, not too many of them are carrying a lot of diseases.
I think one of the most fun parts of training for Survivorman was that I was able to go by helicopter and boat and plane and jeep on foot into these remote, beautiful places, special access in a lot of cases, to be shown where it was that I might be able to survive. So in South Africa, I was getting my own private safari. And then in the end, yeah, they had to show me where the lions were. Now the lions move around, but they knew where they were that night to connect me to the lions, to talk to me about how to be around lions. And you got to remember, this was very new for me. I'm a frostbitten Canadian boy. I know how to deal with grizzlies, black bears, wolves, cougars, and even a moose in heat. But lions, African lions, was a total new thing for me. So this was one of the early episodes I shot where I was truly quite nervous throughout the week. I did not want to have to face down an African lion.
So what's the sign of aggression for this for these males?
He bites you.
Yeah.
No, with a big male, the tail twitch, exactly like a domestic cat. When you see the tail going, that's a problem. Also look at the way they lay when they relax. You see how the haunches, both back legs are laying on the same side of the body. When they're watching you, the tail starts swishing, they lift up the front of the body and they slide the rump over and rest on both back feet. It's a very good chance that they're about to do something special. Generally, when you're on foot in the bush though, moving through an area like this, the first thing you know about a lion is when it's growling and charging, or potentially charging as well.
So have you seen them charge often?
Yeah, plenty.
And if we're this close and he charges, I can't imagine us getting out fast enough. I mean, what do
No,
you do?
we just stand our ground. That's
And they'll stop.
thus far. Thus far in my
Most of the
experience,
time.
yes.
Get yourself a nice club. Okay, so I would say that's the first thing. That's
club.
the first line of security, and it's very effective. If you have some smaller animal coming at you, you have that stick. And even in the case of a lion, what I'm trying to find, the ideal one, you don't want a very heavy thing, because when you throw it like this, it shouldn't pull your shoulder. Okay, it can be a little bit longer than this one, let's say about 5-6 inches. Okay, thicker at the top, and the ideal is to have it a little bit bent.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the type of club that we've been talking about. Then it's not the protect me from a lion club. This is small game,
This one,
small predator club.
This one, obviously, I mean, when you do a club, you can't go, meter, 2 meters. That won't work. Okay. For a lion, this is also, if it's charging you, it's better to have something in your hand than nothing. Okay. So if something is really, I mean, when you are if you are really frightened
Yeah.
by something charging you,
Yeah.
take like a big dog.
Yeah.
Just think about that. If you think about lion,
Yeah.
think about a big dog.
Okay.
Don't try to scare yourself with this big hairy thing going to charge me. Think
Yeah.
about a big dog. If that dog is charging you, if you stand the ground and you hit it, you know, you come forward aggressively,
Yeah.
it's probably going to stop.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a way to stop it. And if you're going to hit it on the head, I mean, you can injure it. When you walk as a group like us in lion country, the moment you see there's a lion or you think there's a lion, is to get together in a group as tight as possible.
So be big.
Don't split up like this. Stay together and face it and just stand the ground. And then you slowly move out of the way. Move backwards, exactly backwards. Okay, and you move slowly out of the way.
Mhm.
And that's the way to do it. But don't split up. And the next thing not to do with a lion is to sit down. Because you make yourself smaller. You should make yourself bigger. All right. You can even open up your shirt to make yourself even more bigger.
And when you're alone, like you don't split up as a group, but when you're standing there alone,
If you
so I
learn,
make myself bigger, get that.
you can make yourself bigger, and when you see it, and it's not really, it's still at a distance, maybe lying flat in the grass, just watch it and move slowly back. Move back and try and look for a tree. As you move back, try and look for a tree and move slowly towards the tree. And just keep it in the eye and move really slowly and just get closer to the tree so that when you get to the tree, then you can get up to the top.
Climb
but
up.
remember, if a lion stands up, they can reach quite high.
Yeah.
So you need quite a tree. This is what you need
Yeah,
for
that
your
was nice.
shelter. Acacia trees with bigger thorns like this. This is exactly that you're looking for.
Nice and strong. And
Okay. There's the one that we saw yesterday. I'll walk to that one. You see that's quite strong. And if you have a few of those, that's fine. Sometimes you find a nice natural spot.
Yeah.
You can just walk into a bush like this and you just cover up with the thorns.
Okay.
And that's actually what you're looking for.
Okay.
And the only thing is that you try to do is to keep it out, especially for that time that you're sleeping, because you don't always hear them. Well, in this grass, you will definitely hear something coming closer. But I mean, this is just to for that moment. And when you have them around the shelter, on the outside of the thorn trees, try to keep still at one place. Don't move around, because it's like a cat. The moment you start to move, they want to play. Just stay at one place. Make yourself bigger, maybe with a one hand opening up your shirt, and have your club ready.
This tree here is where I'm going to make my shelter. Now I've chosen it because it's a strong enough tree for me to climb on if I had to get up out of the way of a lion. And it looks like I should be able to climb it quickly. There's an obvious huge advantage having the balloon material as a tarp in lion territory. Still though, it always amazes me that you can feel almost protected from lions, or even bears for that matter, with just a thin piece of nylon. It really just is a false sense of security. But I'll take it for now. Really, by all standards, it's a bit of a paradise compared to what I'm usually used to. Now I'm still very exposed here, very wide open to lions if were they to come in, so there's something else I can do here that most people do to protect your shelter from lions, and that's find some good solid thorn trees and circle the whole perimeter with thorn trees. This is the first time I've ever made a door out of a thorn bush, let me tell you. So the idea, as I climb inside, pull this last thorn tree in behind me, and I'm effectively surrounded by acacia thorn trees. Apparently, that's a barrier for lions. At least it buys me a little bit of time, just enough time for the lion to get a little bit more hungry.
does fire
That's
scare them off at all?
You see, that's an important and a very valid point that you have there. The fire, let me tell you something, what I believe. I've been in lion country many times. I've had lions 10 yards from me without a shelter, which was a bit of a serious mistake. But I believe the fire It's not going to keep them away.
Okay.
It's going to attract them.
Okay.
Lion and rhino and hippo are very curious animals.
Mm.
And when they see something down there, they want to inspect what's going on. So that's why you have a small fire going all the time, not a big fire. I believe that the fire will attract them to the area.
Okay.
The fire is there for your security because you can see what's happening around. That's the only security you have in the fire.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
Okay.
And that's what I've experienced.
Okay.
Because the moment there's a fire, those lions and rhino and hippo, they come closer because they want to see what's going on.
So the question is, if it's not cold, and I'm not cold in any way,
Oh.
should I bother with the fire?
No, I won't.
Interesting.
But you shouldn't worry about the lions. You see here, what is good about this area,
Shouldn't worry about the lions.
you're well protected here. You're in the bush, so it's not easy for them to see you.
When I have people come to Canada, I always say, you shouldn't worry about the grizzlies, they're fine.
Okay.
And they look at me like I'm looking at you.
Okay.
I swear I just heard something growl over there. I'm gonna back away slowly. Seems that the only answer to just about everything in Africa is to back away slowly, whether it's a black mamba or a lion or a buffalo. If it's anything up here, it's gonna be a buffalo, and that's the last thing I wanna come across. I don't see anything. I have no idea what that grumble growl was, but that was close enough for me.
Here's a great story for you about when we were scouting. I remember walking through a field with a couple of the instructors. Raphael was leading at the time, and all of a sudden he froze, and he just goes, "Mamba!" And everybody froze. Now, there was tall grass in front of me, so I couldn't really see what he was looking at. So I jumped up immediately onto a rock, which later I learned everybody thought I was like afraid, which I don't have a phobia of snakes, not a problem at all. I actually just wanted to see. I really wanted to see. In fact, I wanted to get close. So I quickly jumped up on a rock because I'm quick. And then I look, and this black mamba had to be one of the most deadliest, if not deadliest snakes in the world. Certainly one of the most aggressive snakes in the world that is deadly. Highly venomous, highly toxic venom. And I wanted to get a good look at this. This would be my first look at a black mamba. I learned later, by the way, that while I was being Survivorman and I was out, my family came with me on this trip, and my kids and my wife got to see a black mamba going across the grass of the lodge they were staying in. Meanwhile, the whole week I was out there, I didn't see one. But here we were scouting, and he yells out, "Mamba." So jump up on the rock, I look. Now this mamba had to be probably 14 feet long. 14 feet long. They can go faster than you in about a 100-yard dash. They're aggressive and territorial, and they will chase you. And we were staring at one 30 feet away. And the reason why I thought it was 14 feet was because they are able to lift up their snake bodies about half the length that they are. And this guy was up about 7 feet. It was an incredible, amazing moment to be out in the middle of Africa and be staring down a black mamba that's raised up on end and is clearly agitated.
So if you look at the shelter, obviously you know you have the basic principles looking for a shelter, not a slope, not too close to a river, especially in this case.
Yeah.
If you're in Africa, you stay away from the rivers. First of all, mosquitoes. Secondly, buffalo, they like to move into the rivers. They graze in the rivers.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Stay away from the rivers, a little bit out. You have the water close by, that's fine. And then a third thing is the holes. Stay away from termite holes, termite heaps. That's where you'll find the snakes.
Oh, really?
Yep, they
Okay.
go in there. So if you have a camp, this is the ideal spot here. I mean, this is really an ideal spot, but with the holes there, we have to try and stay away from that.
This is unfortunate. I was hoping this might be a termite nest that I could chow down on and get in there and get some termites to eat for lunch, but it seems to be riddled with snake holes.
Old termite holes are a favorite haunt of the formidable black mamba snake.
plenty of room for it to wind up its up to 14-foot length of body, and if this is its home, it'll shoot out with great aggression to defend its territory. A man once woke up to realize that a mamba had slipped into his sleeping bag. By the time his friends had grabbed his shoulders and pulled him out, which took only about 3 seconds, the mamba had bitten him 13 times. He didn't make it.
See, when you're in a situation like this where the animals are not hunted,
Yeah.
eventually they mellow out and they get quite used to the vehicles. We also have quite a few rangers who do safaris every day, so they're accustomed to seeing vehicles. Certainly doesn't make them tame. If someone was to climb out of the vehicle, they'd disappear.
Yeah.
You hear that sneeze? That's the bull. That's when you start watching out. Okay. Ears angled towards you.
All his attention's on you, basically.
All the attention, everything's focused. Eyesight's not important, but he turns his head sideways just to get a better view. See that?
Yeah.
Because his field of view straight ahead is very poor. If I stand up, he should turn him sideways. There we go. Now he's got a perfect view of me. See? Then back to aggression.
Yeah, he's turning the head always.
And he's really
sideways,
he's trying to
so
get
he
in
can-
between you and
Vision.
the others. That's interesting.
All right, so signs of aggression with white rhino. I think you just had some of them.
Yeah.
Sign of running away.
They look like large pigs, don't they?
Yeah. But hippos are responsible in Africa for killing more people than any other large mammal. So
Really?
yeah, and it's predominantly because people have to drink, and they go down to water. What time do they go fetch water? First thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And at that stage, hippo's coming back from his nighttime feeding.
Also, they're in between him and the
So
water.
they get between the hippo and the water. In the afternoon, when the hippo is coming out, they head down to the water. The hippo hears them, startled, runs back down its path, and runs them over.
The males are very territorial. I've seen in Zambia where you stand on the edge of the river and they will come out. You know, they are very territorial, so they don't like you to be around.
Yeah, agreed. With a bull, doesn't matter whether you're between him and the water or on the other side
Yeah.
of the water, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter.
No, they
Because they
even
can
come
be
out.
quite grumpy.
If we're going to talk about water, obviously you have to talk about it. That's number one. I think in any situation, but especially in Africa, because in South Africa we are a dry country. You know, we have a dry country. We don't have big rivers and stuff. So first thing, water. Open water like this is ideal, but then obviously, what about a dry riverbed? Because you might end up here in the winter time.
Yeah.
So what to do now?
Yeah.
Fresh water tracks here. That's what you can see there. All right. So they obviously come to the water, and they also like to lie down in the mud. There you can see the places where they've been lying down. You know, to take a mud bath when it's quite hot. It's also good for their parasites and so on. What you can do is you dig a hole here, dig a deep hole here, and give it some time. Not too close, but I mean close to the water. Dig a hole there.
Okay.
All right, and the sand will be a filter,
Yeah.
and that water will filter through. It will take some time.
Sure.
So that's the first way to do it.
Okay.
Filter it through the sand, and then boil it.
I like this one. This is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is an excellent place for traps.
Yeah.
You see the root up there?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a beautiful spot for a huge bush pig. Look at the tracks. Smell it. Smell it.
I don't want
Smell the pig.
to. Smell the pig. Dave, get down here.
It was kneeling down here. Can you smell it?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Oh, yeah. Of course you can.
Excellent.
So I want to be able to get fresh water out of this. As you can see, it's pretty much just mud. What I'm going to do is dig myself a hole. Scoop out. It's already starting to fill in with water. It's really as simple as that. If I had to, I could just simply drink this as it is. But what I can do is, of course, use my bandana and get some water that way. Working. Oh, that ought to clean the system out. All right, I've been drinking that chocolate milk muddy water so far, but I'm going to show you that you can boil water in a plastic bottle if you really had to, if you really needed to purify your water. As long as the flames only lick the bottle where it's filled with water, I should be okay. Good red hot coals would work even better. The danger is obviously that I might burn right through, leaving me without a water carrying container, or even putting my fire out. That's pretty cool. Getting water to boil in plastic. It's deformed it, but that works. And that helps to purify any bad water you might be able to collect, even if all you have is a plastic bottle. There are actually hours and hours of footage of Dal Kruger teaching me the edible wild plants of Africa. The difficulty with wild plants is that on screen it doesn't translate all that well. Unless, like the new shows do, you're hyping up some poisonous berry or something and oops, I don't know, I think I ate something poisonous. Unless you're doing that, there's not a lot of drama involved with wild edible plants, but it is a beautiful, wonderful bushcraft and survival skill. It's why I now produce the series Les Stroud's Wild Harvest, which you can see in the United States on public television, or you can watch them all on YouTube. Because with that series, I'm able to just slow down and really enjoy the plants. But even so, we're still only doing 1 or 2 plants a show. It's just we really do them. On Survivorman, it was not throwaway information, but it was sort of part and parcel of what I was going through. And a lot of times, building the shelter, trying to find water, getting a fire going was far more cinematic and dramatic for the screen. But nonetheless, I fought hard to always have in those edible wild plants whenever I could. Besides, they're very important to survival, so they should be in there. Learning wild edible plants it's not like riding a bike. It's more like a language. You do have to kind of keep it up and keep learning and keep remembering the plants. You can come back years later and go, oh, I'm not sure if this is it or not. And that's a dangerous place to be when it comes to edible wild plants. So you really want to know your stuff.
Let me just show you quickly this one. Interesting about this plant, the mother-in-law's tongue, it has some thick roots. As you can see, this one, I normally grow them in my garden for when I go to a place and I need them quickly and I can't find them quickly. Okay, so you just peel the bark of this root, and then you just grab a piece, which is not bad. Okay, so taste that piece there.
Taste it?
It's like a sweet potato almost. It's good.
Like a leek or something.
Mm-hmm. So the Bushmen, in a lot of areas, the Bushmen really use this root for water because they don't have anything else like you've seen. And this is the kind of root that they use.
They just eat it.
In most cases, they will pull it out, the whole plant, and use the roots as they walk to more areas or to hunt. They chew on the roots. But very often, they will, if they just need the leaf, they will cut off the leaves and leave the root and use the leaves for making a rope.
Okay.
You get a smooth surface, okay, and then you just heat this leaf. You just heat it, you know.
Yeah.
You heat the outside waxy layers. You just heat it, not too hard, otherwise you break the fibers, you know. But you just heat it like that, and you do it from this side and from the other side. So you carry on like that, and this from this side, you carry on like that with this leaf, okay? And as you can see, there you get the fibers coming out. Now if you have water, you can really clean it properly and you make a very nice rope. But in this case, you can just drag out that, you know, the waxy part, the fleshy part. Just take it out, okay? And that's what you're going to start with your rope. So you just twist them together and you do the whole process there. You can see. You can even do a rough rope like this thing, okay? But I mean, if you clean this properly, the whole leaf, you have really nice fibers to work with. And they are very strong when you've twisted them. They are really strong. So you can use it for setting up a very fine snare, small animals.
Of all the strychnos, they have got 3 main veins from the bottom.
Mm.
You can see that like that. Those are the strychnos.
Their fruits all edible?
Yeah, the fruits are edible. There's a poison strychnos which have got a smaller fruit. The black one, when it is ripe, the green, that one is poisonous. You can't eat that one.
Okay.
Even these ones, when they are green, they are poisonous. If you have got your water bottle with, just take the roots, drop them, just clean them nice,
Yeah.
drop them in your water bottle,
Yeah.
and close it. The
Yeah.
water is always smelling nice when you drink it, especially when you get water from the bush, like the streams and all that. If you pluck the leaf, you see the milk latex comes out, and you cannot, it's poisonous. Even if you take the wood, you make fire with it. You roast some meat on it. You get
really?
the running stomachs here.
Wow. You can
Most-
touch it. You just
Yeah, even don't touch it. If you touch it and then you, by mistake, you rub in your eye, it can be cause blindness sometimes.
Okay, this is rhino dung, and the reason why you say that is, if you look at the size of it, it's basically like elephant dung. Okay, but if you open it up like this one, you see it's quite fine texture inside because it's eating grass. It's grass. If you look at an elephant, it will be big pieces of sticks and bark. All right, but more or less the same shape. Right, 2 uses of this. First of all, mosquitoes.
Okay.
You just light it in the fire and you put it next to you.
Okay.
Maybe you're going to have a problem with that, with the mosquitoes. Okay, we are quite low here. So light it up and just let it will just smolder. It won't be a flame. And just keep it like that. Okay. And it will make a lot of smoke.
Okay.
So that's good for the mosquitoes. Second thing is, you asked me about taking the fire with you when you move.
Same thing
You
again.
also use this.
Yeah.
Okay. You can just maybe get yourself a stick and split it and put it in the stick there. Okay. And maybe take another 1 or 2 with you, dry ones, so that if that one is almost finished, you just light the other one and you carry on.
Yeah.
So that's a way.
Okay.
I don't know whether you want to use it or not. I'm going to show it to you because it sounded to me that you don't know this one. So what we can do is you just get some tinder, put it out there.
What's this tinder?
This is that rhino dung. Okay, the rhino dung that you've had there. You have this, you have 2 chemicals here. Not really chemicals, but I mean, this is stuff that you buy at the pharmacy. You have potassium permanganate.
Yes.
Okay. Previously, they used it in your first aid kit.
What for?
Crystals. Okay. They used it for some sort of an antiseptic, but more important for you is to put it in there for fungus infections in your foot, in your feet. So what you do is you just put some of these crystals. You put it up there. Okay. This is a laxative.
Okay.
So you can have either diarrhea or constipation in the bush. It's very easy to have that. So there's also a good reason for having this in your first aid kit. And then what you do is you take just like 1 or 2 drops of this on top of the crystals. And leave it for a while.
Yeah, baby. That's going in the show.
And that's real quick.
I haven't had a fire in nearly 3 days, and believe it or not, the medication in my first aid kit can help remedy that.
Rhino dung, potassium permanganate, an antiseptic, glycerin for diarrhea. Watch what happens when you put them both together.
That's what happens when you put the two of them together.
Now that I no longer have my big jet flamethrowers to protect me, this fire will go a long way towards keeping any curious leopards in the area at bay. No shortage of dry material around here, let me tell you.
These are warthog tracks, which shows that this burrow has been utilized, but spiders are in there. So it hasn't been utilized in some days. Okay. These tracks, however, are since the last rains, which is there. We had 3 mils last night, but that wouldn't really affect this bit of vegetation that might protect it. The last heavy rains we had were about 6 or 7 days ago. So in the last week, so these are the tracks of the male line. Okay. Male front track and hind track in front, which would depict quick movement. Hind track on top would depict medium pace movement, hind track behind the front track, very slow movement. So from these tracks you can determine that this lion was trotting. He was basically running along up this road, something that he heard ahead of him, something that he'd seen, something that he smelt caused him to trot. So for you to know which way the snake has gone is fairly important. You're probably familiar with it, but the snake pushes against the sand. So as the snake pushes, a mound is raised on the side that he's coming from. So he's pushed that way, push that way, push that way, push that way. So the snake crossed the road going that way.
No way of telling what type of snake by this?
When it's a serpentine motion like this, it's extremely difficult. This could be anything from a cobra to a grass snake to a young mamba. There are many different possibilities. The only snakes that you can really determine species from are when they've moved in a straight line motion. That is generally depicting the heavy-bodied snakes like puff adders, where you will always see a tail drag, okay? Or the python, which could potentially be even bigger in size. Those are the only two that I would really focus on as identifying a species from spoil with snakes. Anything that moves in a serpentine motion leaves a very similar trail, unless it's extremely large.
Strongest creature on the planet, the dung beetle. Hey,
Okay.
quiet on the
okay.
set.
The camera's one thing.
But the
Too
mouth.
much flap is another.
Oh, he just pooped on me. Yuck. Oh. Strongest creature on the planet, the dung beetle. 850 times its own weight is what it can lift. Close him in here. Ow! Okay, he bit me. He said he didn't bite. Yeah,
Alright.
I am Ani, strongest creature in the whole world. He looks like him too. Oh, look at me, look at my biceps.
This is a male. He's about medium size. They probably put on an extra 2 or 3 inches length maximum.
Edible.
Quite edible, but there's a tree version of this that's 3-4 times as big.
Unedible.
So yeah, and
Just eviscerate it. Just lose the intestines.
yeah, lose the skin. Probably
the
eat
skin.
the intestines because
Most
it's
of the
an insectivore. So what he's eating is probably okay.
Yeah. The same with the frogs and the snakes.
Yeah.
Get rid of the skin.
Get rid of the skin.
Yeah. And avoid eating red frogs. Only red frogs. Don't eat red frogs. No, that's the only poisonous frogs in the country.
You have three of the rules all together here. The brightly colors, the bright colors, not edible. Secondly, the foamy excretion. Did you see the foam here coming out?
Yeah.
That's the second one. And thirdly, the smell.
Yeah.
Can you smell it?
It's like strong almond almost.
All right.
It's like urine.
Okay. So
Anything that smells like almond,
All right.
stay away from it.
So they have 3 rules together.